Hey guys, we're down at the RNLI Lifeboat station in Anstruther today. We've got Michael Bruce, the Coxswain mechanic here. He's the only person full-time here, and he's going to take us round and tell us all about the place. It's amazing down here. You can see the background here. We've got the slipway, and it's like, wait a minute, how are you going to launch a boat if there's no water? Aha, and we're going to see that happening as well. So we're going to take us on a wee tour around the whole station itself, and over to you, Michael. Michael, it's all about this place.
This station's been here for over 150 years.
Yep.
We've had about 8 or 9 different all-weather lifeboats. This is our present one, the Kingdom of Fife.
Yeah.
It's a Mersey class lifeboat.
Yep.
Capable maximum of 17 knots. And it's due to be replaced in the next couple of years with a Shannon class.
Yeah. Which
is the newest all-weather lifeboat that the RNLI has.
How much does a Shannon class cost?
Over £1 million.
Wow.
Yep.
Where are you going to get £1 million?
We've started an appeal to try and fund various.
This is the fundraising, and the link's in the post here. So if anybody's there, just click on the link above, fundraising, if you want to contribute to this wonderful project, and we'll hear all about it and what it is. Totally independent of the government and everything like that. This is all self-funded by local community and local ventures as well. So a golden opportunity to contribute towards this. Even a like and a share and a post and a comment will help this cause. You never know who else is going to reach because of what you do. So can we take us round on this wee tour and tell us all about it and show us what this boat's all about?
Yep, definitely.
But this is a huge boat.
Yeah.
So are you going to retire this boat?
It'll go back down to pool once we get the new lifeboat, and sometimes they're kept in a relief fleet, which is a fleet of lifeboats that could be put in place at short notice if any damage is done to the other one. So still in fabulous condition for being 31 years old this year.
Beautiful boat,
It's like new, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yep. The 12-17, the 12 is the length, so it's a 12-metre boat, and 17 is the 17th boat of that class, so the Mersey class. That's where you get the numbers from.
Okay, great stuff.
Yep. This is where the crew will come up to board the lifeboat.
Yep.
And step onto the boat. Just watch the wee gap here.
Yep.
So this is our wheelhouse. This lifeboat's a self-righting type lifeboat, so as long as the wheelhouse door's closed, if the boat were to capsize, then it would come back up. It would rotate and come back up the way it is just now.
And I did say to you, how on earth does this get under there? And you did say to me the roof actually lifts, no it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's one of the most popular asked questions when the visitors are here. They could get quite close to the lifeboat. Yeah. But yeah, it collapses. There's 2 pins that we take out here. The top part collapses down, well it folds down. Yeah. There's gas struts here that just slow the descent, and then the top part it swivels round on a pivot point, and that folds down towards you just enough. It just clears the roof for us pushing it out. So
okay,
yeah,
great stuff.
Tight.
Oh wow!
These are all watertight doors, closed when we're at the sea.
Yeah, because essentially you're taking your life in your hands, aren't you? When you're going out in here.
Yeah, I suppose we are. It's a dangerous role that everybody's involved volunteering, but the RNLI makes it as safe as we possibly can. We've got the best kit in the world. We really have, and that's something that the RNLI is proud of, and the volunteers are proud of. Yep. If anything's damaged on lifeboats, it's put back to the condition it was before that. Hence why the boat's in such good condition for being 31 year old. There's not any half measures. There's no any. If there is temporary repairs, that they are temporary. That everything's put back to the condition, and that's been the ethos right through the whole time of the RNLI, to give the volunteer crews the best equipment we can.
So what does it take? How quick can this launch?
Depending on the tidal conditions which we've seen outside, with the tide as far out as it is today, if the crew were paged by the Coast Guard, we would probably average between 11 and 15 minutes when the tide's out. When the tide's in, you're about 5 or 6 minutes quicker, just because of the journey we've got to make.
And how much a crew do you have on here?
We've got 34 operational volunteers, which includes our shore crew as well. It's not just crew going out in the boat. We can't get the boat to the sea without the shore crew, without tractor drivers, marshals, head launchers. So we need a good shore crew as well to get us to and from the sea safely. The recovery is a harder part than what the launch is. Launch is quite straightforward, but the recovery could be quite challenging in bad weather.
Right,
Because
okay.
we've got to recover backwards onto the slipway.
Ah, and then you go down here as well?
Yeah, yeah, I'll have to put the lights on, just hold on and you'll be able to see what... This is us in the engine space.
Why does that ring? What's that? Is that
It's just the isolators have been put on, so the alarm just goes to let us know.
And this is the engine?
Yep, we've got 2 of them, 2 Caterpillars.
Why 2? In case one goes?
We've got 2 propellers, and as a backup bits to give you the extra power and speed that you need. We wouldn't get what we need out of one engine.
Okay.
And we're having 2 if we have a failure for any reason or a problem on one engine, then we could still operate with a second engine, and we could still facilitate a rescue as well.
Perfect.
On one engine. It is a lot harder, but we could still facilitate.
And then you go further through into here?
Yeah, I'll put the light on. This is the survivor's cabin.
Yep.
So this is where we put any casualties that we
that
we take on board to come into this area. And there's seat belts all the way around. It's where we keep additional equipment as well. We've got all our some of our first aid equipment. There's towing equipment here, scramble net, a collapsible or a foldable stretcher.
Yeah.
And then we've got spare kit across here. And we also carry oxygen and Entonox, which is pain relief gas, and then our big first aid kit. And all the areas are used. We've got spares in all the seats, and we carry a salvage pump as well to help if we go to a boat that's sinking. We're able to get that salvage pump out through the hatch and assist them to remove the water, if that's the best means of helping somebody escape.
Yeah.
And all the compartments are watertight, so you'll see up the front here, this is where the anchor's stored.
Okay.
We get that from the deck, but before we go to the sea, we'll close this door, and that area is watertight.
Yeah.
So for any reason, if there was any kind of collision or if we made contact and punctured the bow of the boat would still float.
So this boat will stay afloat anytime?
Yeah, it would take a few compartments to be full of water before anything happened. Again, that's what I said, it's the RNLI, there's a hell of a lot of work goes into giving us the best boats that they do.
I could see that.
By shutting off all these areas, that makes it safer again as well. So,
okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, so let's go outside. And let's just walk back in here. Now, so you come out through here, and then we're coming out to the main... Is this called the deck then?
Yeah.
Still the same terminology as most places?
Yeah, after deck, yeah. And we could actually drive the boat from 2 positions. This is the upper steering position, or we could steer it from inside the wheelhouse. A lot of coxswains tend to prefer to steer the boat from outside because you've got far better situational awareness as opposed to being inside the wheelhouse. And it's slightly elevated as well. On the new Shannon class, it's so much higher. You're at a far higher elevated position to give you all-round awareness. It's so much better. This boat is propeller driven, whereas the new Shannon class it's water jets. So there's no propellers on the new boat. Again, a new concept to the RNLI. It's been around for a lot of years, but there's been a lot of development in that area. And the RNLI took the decision to go with the water jets, and it's phenomenal. What the Shannon class boat could do that this can't, the manoeuvrability of it, its speed, its stopping distance.
And that's crucial in saving lives.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially on
10 seconds, 1 second, 3 seconds could make the fundamental difference between losing someone or not.
Yeah, definitely. And we've a lot of our call-outs have been to the coastal path in the last few years, and that really does make a difference because most of them are medical emergencies. And if with the new Lifeboat, it's pretty much twice the speed of this boat. So if somebody's injured, whether it be the chain walk or any part of the coastal path, if we can get there in half the time, then that's allowing us more time to get that casualty onward care onto hospital, or whether they need helicopter evacuation. But the important part is somebody getting there as quick as possible just to assess the casualty and see what extra help they need. So
we're going to be going through a launch later on, and that is essentially the tractor.
Yeah, that's the Talus, it's a crawler tractor.
And that's when you've got no water to launch into, really. Yeah. Which is what today's like. If we take a walk out the front here and have a look, essentially this is just mud. I've never ever seen this before. Yeah. But I'd be really intrigued as how that's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I take it that's the crew
That's
down
the
there,
crew
yeah?
starting to assemble, yeah.
Can we have a look at some of the kit that you're using?
Yeah, I like to see one of the biggest things or changes in the recent years, just watch Errol's, is our towing equipment.
Yeah. We
used to just work a normal tow rope, and we had various bridles, which is the part that goes between the tow rope and the casualty, but the RNLI have given us new towing equipment and it's absolutely fantastic. Basically, we don't tie knots anymore on the towing equipment. As soon as you put a knot in a rope, it weakens it. So we've got this amazing thing. It's been around for quite a few years, but it's new to the RNLI. It's called a soft shackle. Yeah. So we utilise this piece of equipment to join. We've got bridles that a bridle is just is like a mouthpiece that goes onto the boat, but I'd like to see this when we open it up. It's just ingenious for what it is. So I could join that to another piece of rope without even tying a knot, and that will not come out. And the strength of that is incredible. So in the middle of the night, when the volunteers have been woken out their bed and we're going to, if there's a casualty that's broken down and we have to tow them, especially if it's poor weather, and it takes volunteers a wee while just to adjust to, being wakened at 3 o'clock in the morning and not having to tie knots if they're not mariners, if it's, if they're not seagoing people.
Mistakes could be easily made.
Yeah, they can, the knots could be wrong, they could be, just not tied right, whereas that.
And it's just human error at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it is, and it's no fault to anybody, everybody's doing their best, but in the heat of the moment when your adrenaline's going and you've been wakened dramatically in the middle of the night and it's non-stop as soon as you come down here. The only time we pause is to do the briefing. Yeah. Do a briefing before we go to the sea. So that's the only time that we get just to ask questions and to discuss what we're actually going out to.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, this has been a game changer for the RNLI, the towing equipment that we've received.
And again, this is where all the funding goes to.
Sorry?
This is where all the funding goes to, really.
Yeah, definitely. Equipment like that's not cheap. I mean, that's a 200 metre piece of polyester rope. It will not be cheap for the likes of that. And these as well. These are quite expensive, but they're worth their weight in gold.
Well, they're tested for safety, really.
Yeah,
I mean, that's more than anything. You know, I used to work in an industry which was for high quality alumina. Right. So it was also tested to a high yield. Yeah. So therefore it was a high wear capability as well, and that's where the price starts to go up. Exactly. Yeah. Because it's life more than anything. It's life threatening more than anything. And that's why it has to be tested to the nth degree. Yeah. We check everything after we use it, and the RNLI has everything. Everything's stamped and everything's checked at least twice a year by an independent company that comes in to check all their equipment. So again, kit-wise, what other kit we've got here? I mean, what is everybody else? Where's all the kit everybody wears? That's downstairs in the gear room. So perfect. Okay. Down there for a look. Walk round the way. We'll get round this way. Yeah, you'll get round this way. We've got some additional equipment on the side. Yeah. This is an additional salvage pump. Mm-hmm. So if we go out to a casualty that's taken on water, we've got the one that showed you inside, which is a smaller one which fits on the boat. But this one will pump nearly double the water that the small one does. Yeah. So if we know, if we've got further information and we know they're taking on a lot of water or it's a big vessel, then we could take the second pump as well. Brilliant. And our ethos when we're doing the likes of that is we're pumping out the water to initially make sure the casualties are safe. Mm-hmm. The casualty vessels are always second. It has to we look after the people that we're going out to rescue first. Yeah. So, Michael, can we talk about the appeal? What is the appeal and what it's all about, and how could anybody help with this? Our community appeal is we've set ourselves a target of £100,000 and we're trying to raise that money to put towards the building of the new station at Anstruther. We're very lucky because the boat and the carriage and the tractor is actually being funded by legacies from people. So we're now looking to fund towards the station, and we really feel that we want community buy-in with this. This station, it belongs to the community. We're the lucky ones as volunteers being able to use the equipment, but this station belongs to not just Anstruther but the whole of the East Neuk, the whole of North East Fife. It's going to be a community hub, an education hub, a place where visitors could come, and we really want the local community to feel that they've contributed towards that. So we're asking any organisation, any individual to come up with any means.
raising money to put towards our appeal, and I really believe that we as a community could reach the target that we've set and make Anstruther Lifeboat, or the new Anstruther Lifeboat station, part of the community and owned by the community.
So where are we so far with the appeal?
The appeal so far, we're just past the £20,000 mark.
Okay.
So we're well on our way, but we've still got a hell of a lot of work to do to get it to the 100. But the generosity of the public, and especially like the small things that have been happening over the last 2 years, which has been extremely difficult to try and do any fundraising. The RNLI is one of the charities that's been hit with that, but the local public here, not just in Anstruther, but right along the East Nuke's been fantastic, and it's because of their generosity that we've managed to reach the 20,000 already. So I'm pretty confident that we could do that, but we can't do it without the help of the community.
Without the help of the community and fundraising and everything like that. But more importantly, it's like people can get behind this by just liking, sharing this post, comment on this post, push it out to other people, because you never know who else can contribute towards this. It's not just about you. Many hands make light work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, if everybody, there's 370,000 people in Fife. Could you imagine if everybody gave £1? There's £370,000 just like that.
That's right. Yeah, that would totally exceed our target. It'd be absolutely fantastic, and it really doesn't matter. Like sometimes when we see there's young kids that do fundraising projects, or they come along with their pocket money, £10, £20, and that for us, because of what that means, is as much as somebody giving 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. I know it. You're not reaching the target as quick, but for younger people to do that, and it happens quite a lot, it's quite humbling actually. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much for that. Really appreciate that.
So this is where all our kit's kept. We've got all the ALB gear all around outside. The ALB is all-weather lifeboat, so that's the big boat that we've just been on. Mm-hmm. We've got Inshore lifeboat gear as well, which we'll show you. But our partner now is Shelly Hansen. So the RNLI signed a corporate deal with the Helly Hansen to give us all our PPE basically. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so much lighter than the gear that we had before, and it's a multi-layer system as well. So it's 2 or 3 different layers that we're wearing instead of just one jacket, one pair of trousers. The top part is a multi-layer system. And you'll see all this.
So everybody throws all this kit on when they get in the door.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a live demonstration more than likely.
Yeah, aye.
Okay.
We could see all the crew getting kitted up, and this is our life jackets as well. Generally, for going afloat, we've got 2 types of life jacket. They're pretty much similar, but this is an all-weather life jacket, and it's quite a heavy piece of kit. Yeah. But these are like supreme when it comes to life jackets. We've got a spray hood inside it. We've got personal locator beacons. Mm-hmm. So every life jacket we've got has a personal locator beacon inside. Yep. That means if any of the crew go overboard, they could set off the personal locator beacon and we could drive straight to them. It sends off a signal that could be picked up not just by ourselves but by other search and rescue craft or helicopters. Okay. The other type of life jacket we've got is our Inshore life jacket. The main difference is the ALB one is automatic, so if somebody falls in the water that will automatically go off. Yeah. The Inshore one won't, because it's got inherent buoyancy at the back. So if they fall in the water, there's enough inherent buoyancy in that to keep them afloat. Okay. And the reason for that is when you're on the Inshore boat, you're in and out the water quite a lot, and the last thing you want is a jacket to keep inflating. Yeah. But there's a tag that they could pull the tag and it will still inflate to give them extra if they're ended up in the water. When it's not meant to be.
Every eventuality is accounted for. Yeah. And then even more than that.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? Yeah,
we carry personal flares as well. So we've got a flare in our other pocket. That's a night flare and a day flare that we can set off a distress flare, and it could be seen from quite a distance. So, yeah, really, really good kit. And again, they're brand new life jackets that we get, and these are changed every year. And I can't emphasise enough that the RNLI gives us the best equipment. I mean, this compared to some of the standard life jackets that are out there, this is the creme de la creme.
Can't believe this is all self-funded.
Yeah.
The government doesn't contribute to anything to this at all.
No, RNLI relies completely on voluntary contributions. Wow. I mean, jackets like this will cost £300-400 each.
That's remarkable.
So there's a lot of money's worth. We've got our helmets that we have for our protective headgear. They'll be at least £100 per helmet. And then everybody has their own personal set of gear.
And you've got the jackets and everything like that, and you've got all the... So what's this at the back
So
here?
across here, this is the Inshore lifeboat gear.
Yep.
So this is what you'd wear if you go on the Inshore.
So what's the difference between Inshore, Inshore?
It's just in the way it is. The Inshore basically carries out most of the rescues that are close to the shore, as opposed to the all-weather lifeboat.
Yeah.
The Inshore boats are actually the workhorse of the RNLI. They do most of the shouts within our charity. And they could, our D-class for instance, which we'll see in a wee while, it'll float in 18 inches of water. So a lot of incidents, as I said, we get on the coastal path, the ALB can't get close enough, so we need the assistance of the ILB to go in and recover the casualties onto the...
What's the difference? ILB, ALB, WC, whatever. What is that to me?
Inshore lifeboat, ILB, ALB is all-weather lifeboat, that's all it is.
There's two different lifeboats?
Yep, our ILB is...
It's not like Thunderbird 5 or something like that. Another lifeboat comes out aside another one.
The RNLI has quite a few different classes of lifeboat, but we're lucky enough to have the Mersey class and then what we call the IB1, which is Inshore Boat 1, which is the ILB. Essentially,
when I think about it, this is like the Thunderbirds of the sea.
Yeah, we have been referred to as that before, but again, this gets absolutely fantastic. There's a bear suit that goes underneath. So the guys and girls, they've got to strip off and get this as close to their skin as you can.
Yeah.
This suit allows the moisture to wick away from the body.
Right.
If you wear t-shirts or a jersey underneath, you're not letting any sweat to wick away. So you try and wear this as close to the skin as you can, and then it's basically a giant onesie.
Yeah.
That's what they refer to it. And then climb inside the dry suit, which is a feat in itself, because the zip only comes down to there. And once you've got it on, you have to try and get your head and your arms through that, and then pull the...
How do you know what to wear and when to wear it?
Once you arrive at the station, depending on what the shout is, or like you'll see today...
You jump and get your kit for what you're wanting?
They'll put on the kit relevant to what they've been assigned to.
Okay.
Yeah, and all that happens just instantly. We're well versed, well practised in it. So as soon as they know what boat they've to go on, they've all got their own individual suits. So they know what gear to put on.
Okay, anything else involved in this before we see the launch?
Really, again, the shore crew are here as well, and they've got gear similar to ourselves. There's a couple of different kinds, but you'll see them. They've got the hard hats as opposed to our gecko type hats, the fixed ones. And there's 34 volunteers operate out of this area, so it could be quite congested.
And they could be called out any time of day?
Yeah, we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What do you love most about this?
The camaraderie is really good, and just the sense of, I think it's self-achievement but also team achievement. You get a lot from it, especially when you've come and you've actually saved somebody's life. There's no other feeling like it. There's absolutely nothing compares to it.
Brilliant. I could feel that straight away. I could feel that coming to you straight away.
Yeah. I'm Thomas Bett from Anstruther. Been crew for just about 8 months now. Worked for the RNLI as well, seen what they did and just decided I wanted to help.
Aye. So what inspired you about this though?
Just helping people, do it for no reason. It's not paid or anything, it's just helping people, and it's a good team.
Team more than anything, isn't it?
Aye.
The camaraderie. Michael talked about that, the camaraderie.
Aye.
Yeah. Okay guys, so we're just working up to a live launch. This is a practice session for the wee boat and the big boat, as if there's a wee and a big one. They're both big boats. But we're going to be doing that, so Michael's going to be talking us through this and what's going on, so we're going to go over to him. So, Michael, take me through this process. What's happening over here?
So what's happening just now is the all-weather lifeboat crew are up on the boat just now, just doing like final preparations before they go to sea. The tractor driver and the team are in front of us here. They're basically having their briefing, their SMEAC briefing as we call it, which is a briefing that derived from the military. It's an acronym briefing, so everybody knows, before we go to sea at any time, both the boat crews and the show crew do a SMEAC briefing, and the purpose of that is so that everybody knows what's happening, and it's a chance for anybody to ask questions and for any safety issues to be raised, or if there's any defects with any of the equipment, it's an opportunity to for it to be discussed and everybody made aware. It just cuts out the opportunity for any mishap.
So I never noticed that there's the big boat and then there's the wee boat at the side.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the inshore boat shed just to the right there. And they'll be launching as well, so you'll get an opportunity to see them coming out.
So, Elaine was asking, the launch, how long does it take to do a launch to there? Because that's just sand, effectively.
Yeah.
So the difference between a launch on here and a launch in the water is how long?
Well, it depends if everybody's back at their house, and obviously if we're paged if it's an emergency, then we've got to be cautious when we're attending the station. But if the tide's out like that, I would imagine between 11 and 15 minutes would be an average time at that state of the tide. If the tide's in and on the slipway, it cuts down a lot of the manual work that has to be done.
Yeah.
So our launch time would be a lot quicker. It could be as little as 7 minutes.
Right.
We've got the joy of having the Inshore Lifeboat, and that could be a launch really quick. Only needs 3 people to go afloat in the boat, a tractor driver plus a banksman. So there's it's a lot less labour intensive, and it's a really quick piece of equipment to get in the water. That's why it's a huge asset to Anstruther and the whole of this area.
So this is what they're going through just now, I take it?
Yeah, they're just going through. That's the head launcher. He's just gone through his final checks of the safety chains and checking that the carriage and everything else is correct.
Yeah. And does this have to be done every time?
It has to be done, yeah, every
just
time
to make
before
sure
launch.
just in case.
Yeah, because there's a possibility that something's been knocked if there's people been walking about, and it just makes sure it gives. It seals over.
It's like a check when an aircraft's taking off, really.
Yeah, it's the same idea. Yeah, they've got their standard checks that they go through. Yeah. And it's just to assure the safety of all the volunteers that are
So the lifeboat station, how long has this been here?
This particular building here was built in 1903. It was built for the James and Mary Walker lifeboat.
Okay.
And that particular lifeboat was here till 1933. And we've actually managed to acquire that particular lifeboat, believe it or not, and we're restoring that as we speak just now. So yeah, it's quite some time.
Tell us all about you.
I'm Shelly. I'm from Fife, Manchester originally. I have a baby. She is 8 months.
Yep.
I joined the Lifeboat in 2016 after watching a launch a couple of months before that, and I thought, do you know what, I could get involved in that. I could make this something that I could do because I didn't really have a hobby or anything. So I thought,
I would be terrified if I saw that.
No, I was just sitting chilling and just seen it going. I hadn't seen it for years, the launch happening, so it was pretty interesting. And then so I was just going to do the shore crew side, and straight away joined to go on both boats and really enjoy it. And everybody's great on the team.
Do you get called up in the middle of the night then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not recently with obviously having a baby, but because I've just come back from having maternity, so but yeah, it's not been too bad in the middle of the night. Touch wood, you know.
So what drove you? Why this? Why?
Well, my brother-in-law's in. He was here as well, like that day that I seen the launch, and just spoke to him about it. My granda was in years ago. My uncle, they were all in it as well. So, but they're not in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. The team's great, and the banter flows sometimes.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, so take us through this process. What's happening here?
So this is the ALB just making its way out the shed. They've went through their safety checks and that at the start just to make sure everything's ready for the launch. You can see how tight it is coming out the shed on all sides, pretty close to the handrail.
And that's when that bit at the top actually just folds down so it goes under the roof.
Yeah, they've had to do that before they move it. And when they come out the station, once they're all clear, they'll stop the rig and you'll see all the aerials and the mast and that going up as well. So this has to happen every time. The boat has to stop when it comes out. And you'll see already there's a crew member just at the aerial ready. There'll be 2 people at the back. It takes 2 to lift the gantry aft. And the 4 shore crew that are outside here are just marshalling, just making sure that nobody basically enters the area close to the rig itself. That's the aerial starting to go up.
And then there's the ground crew just making sure everybody's away from the boat as it comes out.
That's the first part of the mast at the back there just going up. And once that's locked in place, you'll see it. There you go, there's the mast being lifted up.
Yep.
And it'll be locked in place. the squeak of the pins going in, that's it secure. And then the bigger aerials, they'll go up as well and they clip into the mast. The bigger aerials are to allow us to speak to vessels further afield than what our short VHF does.
Yeah.
Even after 30 years, I'm always taken back to like the amazing colours of the RNLI, the orange and blue, especially when it's a day like this. It's
majestic, eh?
Yeah.
Does the sun ever become a problem?
It does, Jim. Yeah, we carry sunglasses for that reason. It's no for the posing factor. It could be quite a problem, especially when you're driving, operating the boat.
I mean, that's some beast in itself.
Yeah, definitely. That's got a Caterpillar engine in it as well, the same as what you've seen aboard the boat.
Yep.
Except it's not water cooled by the sea anyway, salt water cooled. And there's no turbo on it, it's a naturally aspirated, but the same engine.
So would this go any quicker if you were doing a live launch? Would this be the normal speed?
Slightly quicker. We've got a trainee tractor driver today, so he's going under training. Because he's going to be doing a pass out within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Running for days. My body won't stop 'cause I know what it takes. Break down the dawn.
Okay, so what's happening now then?
So they basically have to stop the rig now and just take off the safety chains before they get to the water's edge.
Okay.
And prepare the tractor, because just now the tractor's actually connected to the trailer by quite a few means. You'll see them just taking off the winch wire there, so they'll pull the winch wire in and secure that to the tractor. Because what actually happens when the boat goes into the water, it operates a catapult system.
Okay.
And once they're into depth, the tractor will actually disconnect from the trailer, and the only thing that will be holding the tractor to the trailer is two ropes, one either side, and the ropes run the full length of the trailer and back again, and they're hooked onto the boat. So as the tractor pulls forward, it actually pulls the boat off the trailer using a catapult system. Quite a simple but an ingenious idea. And that assists, because it's assisting the boat to get off the trailer. It's because we can't really drive the boat off that trailer. It has to be pulled off it. So they're just doing the last couple of things before.
Again, safety paramount in all this process, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because if you get one thing out of sequence, it could be catastrophic.
Oh, aye, definitely. I mean, we just said the weight of the boat's 15 tonne. Obviously, the weight of the trailer. So you can imagine if anything was to happen in or about the tracks or the wheels, and the tractor driver will not start until the head launcher gives him the authority to do that. And the head launcher will make sure everybody's clear, and he'll have eyes on, he'll be able to look across and check with the marshals on either side. So we've got the shore crew going to the front end and knocking the chain off as well there. So we've got a safety chain on the front and one on the back. That's the front one, or the bow chain. They've just knocked off the now. So the only thing holding the boat onto the trailer just now is the 4 safety chains, 2 either side, which you clearly see on the port side there. That's the only thing that's holding it up. Once they're in the water, that's the lifeboat engines just started up there. They do that now because everything's been disconnected at the back, so it's safe for the engines to be going. That's not done until that process is done. You'll hear whistles going once they're actually in the water as well. The coxswain blows a whistle, and that's to make sure that they'll set a crew member at each chain with a hammer.
Yep.
There's a system on the boat, and once the first whistle goes, if the crew person's ready, they'll stick their hand up to acknowledge that, and on the second whistle, they'll all strike the mechanism at the same time, and the chains will fall down, and that signifies then there's nothing else holding the boat onto the carriage.
Running, running for days. My body won't stop 'cause I know what it takes. Break down the dawn, feel the pain. Tragic if I listen to you with your sharp cigarettes and your too many rules. Break down the wall, I'm screaming too. You can't stop me.
So you see, he's actually just going over a wee bit of lumpy bit on the bottom there now. The boat was rocking back and forward a little there. The tunnels, you see at the back, just the white part, that's them just at depth now, pretty much.
So wait, see, that's almost submerged.
Yeah,
Tractor.
it's not enough to float the boat, so if the chains got knocked off, the boat wouldn't float.
Yeah.
But what will happen, if he's happy, he'll sound the klaxon. We'll wait and see what he's... Ultimately, at this point, it's the coxswain's decision if he's happy where he's actually placed.
Yeah.
For the safety of his crew and his boat. The klaxons went, so the tractor driver's happy. So the tractor driver is now disconnecting the tractor from the carriage that the boat's sitting on. There's the big klaxon, yeah. First whistle, so that's just, you see the crew's hands going up, they're all ready. Blows the second one, they've knocked off the chains. It's quite that's like final when that happens,
Yep.
that's it, you're going to see. So now the tractor's pulling forward and he's actually, might not look it, but he's
All the
catapult,
base
you
is
see it?
coming away. And it's just
You
putting
see
it
it?
into
And
the
that's
water.
the boat
Yeah.
down now, yep. So that the boat's clear of the tractor, clear of the carriage, driving away, and the tractor driver will bring the whole lot back onto the beach.
So when would you take the wee boat out then? Why just as assistance to the bigger boat?
Sometimes it's the other way about, actually. Sometimes the big boat launches to assist the wee boat. The wee boat's a real workhorse. As I said earlier with RNLI, it does most of the shouts that the RNLI do, and it's a lot more powerful tool than what it looks.
Yep.
It could tow some considerable sized boats, but it's its agility, its speed, and the depth of water that it could float in. You can see there's not a lot below it. So they can get quite into quite a lot of areas, and it's like you often cover as well, our coastal path, absolutely amazing feature that we've got in this area. But there is quite a lot of incidents that happen because we have in excess of 400,000 people a year visiting our coastal path.
So when you think about it, and you could talk to me about this then. So how far do you go? How far do you travel? I mean, I got told that you could go up to Montrose sometimes.
No, we wouldn't cover as far as that. Our limit with the Inshore boat, if it was supported by the big boat, would be St Andrews.
Yeah,
so into
okay.
St Andrews Bay, and we'll for an Inshore boat, we'll cover up as far as Leave-in, Kirkcaldy.
Yep.
Again, supported by the all-weather lifeboats or our flank station at Kinghorn.
Perfect.
They've got a bigger rib.
So you've got an Anstruther here, it covers this area, the coastal from St Andrews away round to Kirkcaldy, and then Kinghorn will obviously cover Kirkcaldy and onwards as well.
That's right, yeah. But as an ALB, we've got two ALBs on that cover the whole of the River Forth. We've got ourselves and Dunbar Lifeboat. So we'll actually cover right up to the bridges and beyond. That's mainly if Kinghorn or Queensferry, our flank stations up the river, if they need any kind of assistance from a bigger lifeboat, then we're there to assist them. Perfect. As well as to carry out a particular job. It's like one big family, really. If they request their assistance, if it's solely just to support them. So if it's a poor night, that we've got a resource out there to help them and look after their welfare, then that's what we'll go to see to look after our crews.
So for the people watching out there, what's the final thing you'd like to say to them?
Just take care, I suppose. The coastal path along here it's an amazing. We're really lucky to have what we've got, and we've worked on various local projects to make it safer.
Yeah.
But accidents happen, and that's really what they are. It's not anybody doing anything other than just a complete accident. And if anybody finds herself in difficulty, to call the Coast Guard out, 999, ask for the Coast Guard and tell them what the incident is. There's also a safety marker post project that we've just been working on with the Countryside Trust, and Police Scotland, and that's just been implemented from in our area from Shell Bay to Kings Barnes.
Yeah.
So there's 38 safety markers that have been put in place.
You say you're at number 38 or 40 or 12 or
just be aware that it's
straight away where you are.
Yeah, be aware that it's out there. Keep an eye on what post number that you're near. If you quote the post number, that takes the search and rescue out of it for us, and we could just drive straight to wherever you're in trouble.
I joined the trainee crew back in November.
Yeah.
And I had my first shout at the start of February.
So what drove you to do this? Why this?
I'm from Bolton originally,
Yeah.
the northwest, and over lockdown my dad and I watched a lot of Saving Lives at Sea.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about boats, I haven't got much experience at sea, but I loved the programme and I thought very highly of the people that did it, and I knew that I was moving to this part of the world in last September, so the day after I moved in, just down the road, I came and had a chat with Michael, our coxswain at the station, and I wanted to join. So that's why I just watched a lot of the television programme.
Perfect. Excellent, thank you very much.
No problem, pleasure to meet you.
So over to you, Michael. What's happening here?
Well, the big boats just returned from their training exercise. There'll be a short wait for water, but we can only recover when there's a certain amount of water at the bottom of the slipway.
Yeah.
But the shore team that you see in front of you, they're just getting the rig ready.
Yeah.
They'll probably have to, they're looking to recover the small boat first, I think, and then they'll be recovering the big boat after that, but they're pushing the cradle back out in place, and once it's at the desired location, they'll set the trailer up, and the trailer gets broken, as we call it, which puts it in a tipped position, ready to receive the lifeboat. What we're trying to replicate is when the carriage is in place and we break it, it's like a continuation of the slipway, so that's all you're trying to emulate, is the slip continuing, so that when the boat's pulled up the slipway by the winch wire, it comes from the concrete slipway onto the carriage at the same angle, and once it comes in far enough, the trailer just comes back down and snaps back into place.
What do we do if we've got somebody that needs an urgent attention? Because obviously if you've been out there, how do you offload them straight away?
Well, just now, if it was that, we'd utilise the steps at the end of the West Pier, which is one of our sort of locations that we would put somebody ashore.
Louise, I've been on the lifeboat now for 4.5 years. You've probably seen my picture a few times on the community appeal. It's Anstruther. I've lived here all my life. There's always a draw to the sea. It's in my family, it's in my blood. I'm now the 4th generation to join Anstruther Lifeboat, and I love every minute of it. We've got such a good team, good crew. The social side, the going out on the shout side, everything, we just all work together so well. And if it wasn't with the help from the local community and those that have got donations, whether it's in wills or just handing in money or shaking a bucket, you know, it's those people that keep us as a station running.
Keep it going,
yeah. And for them, we're totally grateful.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like how
the
people do
generosity
that.
of some people is unbelievable.
Yeah,
It really is.
I never had
and
any
a station
idea.
Like this, you need it. You know, we've got 2 boats, we've got a big crew, there's a lot of training that's needed, there's a lot of maintenance that's needed. So.
And how could you put a cost on somebody's life?
Well, you can't.
Really, that's it?
No. And I've had family that the boat's gone out to, even though they've been in the lifeboat themselves, everyone gets in difficulty, and you never know when that's going to happen.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Right, okay, so that's the wee boat in now, and they're just taking up the slip. So will that all have to be washed down now?
Yeah, it's quite a process. That the job doesn't finish there. They'll have to wash it down with the particular soap agent that we use. They'll have to drain all the water out of it, and then they'll have to flush the engine out with fresh water.
Oh, right, okay.
Otherwise, there's a potential that there's salt water left in the system now, so every time when they come back ashore, it gets flushed out.
So it just doesn't stop here?
Aye, yeah, that's just to maintain the equipment.
How long does that usually take?
There'll be 20 minutes doing like that. They'll have to refuel the boat as well. And it's quite an intricate process as well to refuel that to make sure we don't spill anything at all. So yeah, and then the tractor has to get washed down in the trailer as well before it goes back in the station.
I don't think anybody realises what goes into this.
Aye, it's quite a time.
You launch your boat and go and save somebody and then put it back in the hold.
We're one of the trickier stations because we're a carriage launch station. The recovery process itself, it's an extra hour for us. So if we're out on a shout, If we were lying afloat, we'd just come back in, tie the boat up. You'd still have a wash down, but then that's you finished once you've done your debrief. But for us, we've got to recover the boat, and on a poor night and poor weather, that could easily take an extra hour.
Yeah.
So it's when you've come back at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night after a shout, and knowing that you've still got to recover the boat, it could easily be, you could be another hour and a half. The time you do that, come in, do your debrief, and then everybody gets your kit all cleaned down and that as well, because you have to look after your own PPE. So it's got to
on adrenaline basically.
Yeah, that's what keeps you going till you get home, and sometimes it's
by the time you get home.
Quite a lot of the time, especially if they're all volunteers. They've been to their own work through the day or night or whatever they're on. So it's.
So what's going on here now?
So they're just setting up the recovery equipment. That's a bridle that they're pulling down the slipway, which that goes up to the boat, gets offered up to the boat, and they attach that to the boat as it comes back onto the slipway. There's a safety bridle getting attached to the slipway, an eye on the slipway as well. That's just a holding bridle, so when the boat's pulled up to a certain stage, which you'll see in the recovery, that bridle holds it in place, and they're able to take the large bridle off then.
Okay.
So not too many pieces of equipment, but they'll play their part.
Richard McDonald. I'm a company director for a small research company. I've been doing the lifeboat now for 5 years. I grew up in Anstruther, and I think it was always kind of part of my childhood memory, watching the boat, hearing the maroons going off. So when I came back to Anstruther about 6 years ago, I started looking at it. I'd come out of the armed forces, and it seemed to be a kind of natural progression. Came down, like most folks, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
But then you start going out on shouts and things kind of change. It becomes addictive. Especially when you go out and you pull in a boat, you tow a boat, you save somebody. And it's a great sense of teamwork. It's not just you doing it, it's everyone on the boat and everyone on the shore that launched the boat.
Yeah.
And after that, you just never look back. You just kind of probably run when your pager goes off and don't even think about it until you're out in the boat and heading out the harbour. You just got to do it.
I had said to Michael, you're almost like the Thunderbirds of the sea.
I sometimes kind of play the Hawaii 5-0 tune in my head as I run down the road.
Yeah.
But you hear the automated siren going on. I mean, I just live up the road, I can run to it, and then that gets your adrenaline going.
Yeah.
And it's always, you come down and you never know what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it a fishing boat needing towed? Is it somebody in the water? Is it a missing kayaker, a windsurfer? Sometimes it's just somebody on the coastal path that might have broken an ankle, or we've had some bad falls. Of course, we've got the Ely Cliffs.
Yeah.
So it's that unknown factor. You go and you might be back in an hour, you might be back in, we've been out for 9-8 hours, maybe even more at times. So it's just a complete mix, but whatever you do it as part of a crew. There's always somebody to back you up, and it's just a great feeling when you come back and you've accomplished something. You've made a difference that day.
Brilliant. What could people do then? Share, like this post, or contribute to the charity?
Contribute to the RNLI, definitely. We've got an old station and an old boat. Both are due to be replaced.
Yeah.
The most modern, state-of-the-art boat is Shannon. For that, we need a new station. So we do have a local appeal for £100,000, and anyone that can help towards that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, so what are we doing here then?
So the guys that are down the slip now, they're pulling the winch wire from the Talus tractor down to the bottom, and they're going to join that up to the Dynex bridle that you see sitting at the bottom there. And that's a split bridle, so the winch wire goes to one end and the other end splits into two, and that'll get offered up to the boat when the boat comes backwards into the bottom of the slip, or a stern as we would call it.
Yeah.
So they're just attaching that ready just now. It's just another part of the process, and it has to make sure it's long enough that it's going to reach up to the boat as well. And it's the head launcher, who's the person wearing the white hat. It's his job to make sure and just check over all the equipment that's ready for the lifeboat when it comes in. A lot of people do multi-roles, so like for instance down there now, there's one of our longest serving tractor drivers is there, and he could also do the head launcher role as well. But for this particular session, it's one of the other tractor drivers that's doing the head launcher part of it.
So what's that, just out of curiosity, what's this channel in between then? What's all that about?
So the channel is been put in the slipway, that's so that we could offer up the keel, which is the very bottom part of the lifeboat, or any boat really, solid steel keel. That the keel sits in that, and it's basically a guide. It's a wide guide, so that when the boat's getting pulled back up the slipway, it can only move back and forward the distance of that actual channel itself.
And how long do they have to wait before they can actually say, like, we're ready? Just that's the boat coming now.
Yeah. As soon as the head launcher's happy, really, he's just
and
talking.
They walk away, and then the boat comes over.
Yeah. Once they're happy that everything's set up, the boat will make its way, and you'll see it coming backwards in towards the slipway. So going by the bit movement, they're quite happy that they'll just get everybody in place. They're just checking the arms, putting them back down in place, and they'll break the trailer. This is one of the last things. See, when I said it breaking, it's splitting the trailer. They're just about to do it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right, okay.
So if you've seen that on a line, that's just basically an extension of the solid slipway down here.
Yeah.
And it just allows the boat to come up the slipway and then straight onto the carriage, just a continuation. And then after that, it's just momentum. Once there's more boat on the carriage than there is on the slipway, the carriage will drop down into place and snap into place. That's it. So there's the rope going down. So the crew member will attach the rope, which has got a ball on the end of it, and they'll put it in a clip so it doesn't come out. And then they pull the bridle or the haul up span, as we call it, and you'll see them attach it one eye to either side.
Yep.
So again, it's just a bit of teamwork. There's three of them there. One of them holding either eye, and then somebody taking the clip off in the middle. And the coxswain's just signalled a thumbs up to the head launcher there, and that's basically saying that we're good to winch. We're happy for you to winch us out the water. You'll see as well, we're still having to basically come backwards. The engines are in our stern just now, just to hold the boat in position. As soon as the weight comes on the boat and you're happy that you're not going to move either side, you put the engines back into neutral. See it just scraping along the bottom. We've got bilge keels on the bottom of the boat as well. There's one either side. So as the keel is in that centre position pulling up, the bilge keels are actually going along. They're just touching the cobbles either side, and that's what keeps the boat stable in the position that it's in.
The wee bits sitting there.
Yeah.
The water's just pouring out.
Just below that. Yep. We tend to, sometimes it'll rock back and forward, but it'll not go any further than the way it is. You get a good view of the bow there, just how it fits, the keel fits in the channel.
That's pretty quick.
Aye, yeah, it's quite a slick motion pulling it up the slipway. And that's just what you don't want to do is stop if you don't have to, because the minute you stop and you've got to start again,
lose momentum.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about as much momentum and as less friction as possible.
Yep.
So now they just stop at this position. They've stopped the engines, and that'll allow the shore crew to basically come in and put the safety strop up, which you'll see there now, because we've got to transfer from the bridle that's up down to pull the boat onto the carriage from the bottom of the boat rather than the top.
Okay.
So he's attached that to our towing post on the back of the boat, and once he's happy everybody's back safe, they'll just take the way off the winch wire.
Take the strain.
Yeah. In fact, it should sit there. What it does is it just, if it was to slide back down, that would come tight and hold the boat in place.
Yeah.
The boat generally doesn't move at that position. The crew are just a bit, you stay tentative to not move about too much. So now the shore crew all comes in. They're kept back because we've got a line under load when the winch wire's getting winched up.
Yeah.
You keep all the shore crew back to a safe distance. The whole thing, safety has to be paramount throughout it. It doesn't matter whether folk are employed or not, but they're volunteers giving up their time, so we want to make sure they're as safe as possible. So now they're just pulling the winch wire down and to marry it up with the strop that they put on the ruffle hole on the bottom of the keel. So that's the keel that we're speaking about. It runs from there all the way right to the front of the boat. So that whole keelway is sitting in the channel just now. So the head launcher's just double checking everything's fine and he's happy, and he'll check with the coxswain as well that they're happy to start winching. Again, the klaxon on the tractor goes just to signify that they're about to start winching, just a safety feature that we do as well. And this is always probably one of the most dangerous parts of the recovery. It's just marrying that onto the trailer to make sure it's lined up properly.
It has
and
to be perfectly in line with these rollers.
Yeah. So we've stopped it, just getting them off the rail. We're meant to keep that part clear, so they've done the right thing, just keeping them back. Just again, because of the height and risk of this winch wire being tight.
Yeah.
It's just coming to the critical point now, Jim, so the head launcher will be keeping a good eye on that just to make sure it's matching up. And they'll keep it going, they won't stop it unless there was a problem.
Seamless,
Yeah.
So how does that rock over now?
Yeah, it looks in quite a precarious position, doesn't it? It doesn't look natural, but what's happening now is the head launcher's called into the team to put the stern safety chain on.
Yep.
So they're putting that through there now, because the only way we've got to tighten this is the actual pulling the boat back towards the tractor. So what happens is it's basically just a bit of a cantilever. Once they've got that through and they've got everything attached and the head launcher's happy, he'll instruct the winch operator to start winching in again, and the weight of the boat coming backwards will bring the trailer down and it'll collapse and click into place, and he'll pull it back till that safety chain goes tight.
That's effectively 15 tonnes.
Yeah, 15 tonnes sitting at that angle. It's it's always quite a funny position to be sitting in. At this point as well, the crew have basically stay where they're at. Don't want any movement up there at all. Not that one person's going to influence the boat moving over, but just as a safety precaution, there's no movement at that point. And you'll see just as it comes on, it's starting to come down, and there's just below the chain, it clicks into place. We'll keep going. So that's it locked in. There's no way that'll come over now, and they just pull it back till the safety chain comes tight. That's it. So the boat's not going anywhere where it's at.
Secure now?
Yeah, So there's locking pins that they've just put in now, one either side, and then they'll pass up the chains that you see them knocking off at the launch. They'll just put them back up, and they'll all get tightened up once they're up.
Brilliant. So the next steps after that is then just get it in, wash it all down?
Yeah, get all washed before we go in, and then fuel up if they need to fuel up. They've been using our X boat, which is the little dinghy as well, so that'll have to be washed down in that as well. But we can't store that, so it'll have to be stored in the station till it dries before I'll put it back through the week when I'm back in working.
Okay.
Hi there, my name's Roy Giles. I'm the Lifeboat Operations Manager here at Anstruther Lifeboat Station. I'm very proud to run this crew here. We've got, I think, the best crew in Scotland, and a wonderful environment to work in. And we're very lucky that we're going to get one of the latest of the boats here, the Shannon class lifeboat, which will be built over in the other part of the harbour. And we're busy trying to raise money to make sure that happens. We're right in the middle of the process. The planning's through, and we're just waiting for building control to actually start putting some spades in the ground.
Perfect. So when will that actually happen then?
The exact timescale for the build we don't know, but it's likely to happen towards the end of this year to start the build.
Yeah.
And we hope to be ready by around about September next year.
So can I ask you, what was it about this that drew you to do this? It's like, because you know how some people say it was my calling. I just knew I had to do it.
Well, it's the sea, really. Before I spent a lot of time in the police in the local area here, but before that I was in the Royal Marines. I loved the water, and when I moved to Anstruther, the first thing I did was try and join the lifeboat. So I've been here now for 20 years. Wow. And it's
you must love what
brilliant.
You do. You must love this.
It is fantastic. I mean, it can be difficult sometimes. There are some trying situations, but we've got, as I said before, we've got a fantastic crew, and it makes my job really easy. Yeah.
What's the most challenging situation you've had in the 20 years that you can think of?
Probably the most difficult technical situation we had was trying to get the herring drifter, the 100-year-old herring drifter, the Reaper, which is moored here in the harbour, back into the harbour when it lost a rudder because it was out of control, and we had to try and get it in. So it was a really good technical job with the big boat and the Inshore boat as well to make sure we got it safely alongside.
Wow. Oh, well, it'd be a bit of a challenge. How long ago was that then?
That was around about 8 years ago. But probably the most difficult jobs in the whole are medical jobs. We do quite a few round around the chain walk on the Fife coastal path, and we're the first people there.
What's the best advice you can give people with the chain walk?
To look at the tides, wear proper clothing. I'm not trying to say people shouldn't do the chain walk. It is a lovely facility, but people tend to... It infuriates me if people are going along with flip-flops on. So they got proper footwear, and they look at the tide, so they're not trying to cross at high water. And if they do get blocked because of the water, don't try and climb up over the obstruction. Just go back. Because most of the ones isn't the chain walk, it's the fact that once they realise they're stuck, they try to climb the rocks, and then they fall, and that's when they come into difficulty.
You really are putting your life at risk.
You are, exactly.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
And then it's not just your life; it's possibly other people's lives that have to come and save you.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Every time we go out, there is an element of risk to the crew. So, big part of our drive here is to try and make sure that the things that we commonly go out to don't happen again. So we try education amongst the boating community here is big for as far as we're concerned.
Perfect. And in terms of the funding, what can people do out there for you for the funding?
Well, we have an online presence at the moment for the funding of the new lifeboat station. Mm-hmm. The RNLI in general has many options online for people to donate, and what we really have to understand is the RNLI is a totally voluntary organisation. Yeah. All our money comes from the public, from the people like the local residents here in Anstruther, and without them we couldn't provide the service we do.
And interestingly, I talked to Michael about this, and he said, well, if we were to become funded by the government then have control about, whether we should stay open or what services we should provide, and that might be a challenge. Is that kind of how you see it?
It definitely is how I see it. At the moment, we've got the best of kit, specifically designed for what we're doing, and the RNLI, when they do what they call a coastal review, so they're looking to see what service we provide around specific certain areas of the coast, and whether we need to upgrade it or whether it's sufficient for the job. So our decisions are largely made on need rather than finance. We have, and if we continue the support we're getting at the moment, we can carry on doing that and provide what I think is the best service of its kind in the world. We are second to none.
The shop's basically the front door to the station. It allows the general public to come in, support the lifeboat in any way by purchasing any of the gifts inside. But at Anstruther, it also lets the public in to see the lifeboat close up. Yeah. So under normal conditions, the lifeboats in the boat shed, they could come in through the shop, into the next part and into the station, basically within a few feet of the all-weather lifeboat.
That's when they go up to the gantry.
Yeah, they go up the gantry up to. We've got a wee gallery up the top, so they could look at a timeline of the history of Anstruther, and how the RNLI fits into, or the RNLI Anstruther fits into the RNLI history in general.
Walk around the shop.
Yeah.
Show what we've got.
Yep.
Tell you all about it. So we've got a ramp for disabilities, so people can get in there. So it makes it easy accessible to everybody involved. And then into the shop itself.
There we go.
And lots of gifts and everything in here as well.
Well kitted out shop.
Yep. And all the stuff. And then it talks about where your money goes. So basically, what we're saying, 500 for we'll provide a new storm jacket, 263 buy a new safety helmet, 55 buy new boots, 458 buy all-weather leather jacket, 375 pay for crew members' trousers. That's a lot of kit.
Yeah.
But it's you could tell the expense, eh?
Yeah. It has to be the best, and we have got the best.
Yeah. So that's why obviously the shop's vital to obviously produce funds as well. But be the front end for the organisation.
Definitely. We couldn't exist without the shops that we've got. Yeah. And our one's one of the leading shops in Scotland. On average, they'll raise 70,000 plus, which is absolutely tremendous
amount for the cause.
Yeah, especially for the size of the shop, it does extremely well.
So who have we got here today with the shop? Who's
this is Bill.
Bill, hello Bill.
Yeah.
How are you?
Bill's one of our lifeboat shop stalwarts. He's aye.
So Bill, can you tell me all about how long have you been here then?
Since 2013.
Yep. Okay. So what do you like most about the shop? Being in here.
I like being part of the RNLI.
Yeah.
To bring in money to help people.
Yeah.
And especially to support the boys in the shop here and the station.
Yeah.
And Michael Bruce is a great coxswain. He's a tremendous guy. He runs a great team here.
He's not paid you to say that.
Not paid us to say that. No, he's a great guy. He really does a tight shop. Very good.
Yeah.
And we get him involved as well with customers. Customers come in and ask about the boat all the time. Michael's around, we shout them through.
Yeah.
And he'll come in and explain everything about the boats, and the customers are delighted with this.
And when's the shop open? When and to?
It's open from the beginning of February,
Yep.
right through to Christmas. We don't close at all. And it's during the winter hours, it's open from 11 until 4.
Yep.
And the summer months, which start at the end of this month, is 11 till 5.
Is that 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Oh wow.
Nobody, we don't close.
That's a huge commitment.
Like the Windmill Theatre in London, we never close.
Yeah. And then I take it that's up to the gantry in there, is it? Or is
That's
it,
into
you know?
the kitchen, toilets.
Oh, that's into the
pantry
kitchen,
in there.
toilets and that,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
gantry. And then
Through
you
here,
can go and
it's-
see.
Through here, it's into the shed itself where the boys
So it's
work.
through there as well, yeah?
Yeah, through there as well.
Okay. And this is where the public can see?
Yes. Because of the COVID.
Yeah.
We're not keeping people in.
So then they just pop up here.
Yep.
So we just go up here and then we could actually see the boat when it comes in then.
Yeah. Normally when the boat's coming and going under, we'll have to close the shop just for
Yeah.
safety because of tractor fumes and
Just
what
in
have you.
case.
So yeah, when that happens, we normally close it off. But this is how close they can actually get. You can nearly touch the boat when it's actually in place.
Yeah.
Find out more about the boat itself. There's a lot of old memorabilia as well, old service boards up the top.
Yeah.
And various donors that's helped us along our journey so far. And we've also got the gallery up the top as well,
Brilliant.
which you can go up for a look.
And this is
It's
another
various-
gallery then?
Yeah, This is the one that displays our timeline for Anstruther and the RNLI as a whole, so you can see
wow.
what's happened within the RNLI's history when it started back in 1824 and how the Anstruthers had different boats. So Anstruther started in 1865.
Yeah.
It was our first lifeboat. And as I was saying earlier, this station was built. It was 1903. It was the boathouse was actually built. It was for the James and Mary Walker until 1933 when it was changed over.
Yeah. Somebody's been up Kilimanjaro as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing that again people raising money for the RNLI. The feats that some people go to are tremendous.
That's fantastic. And you're up to 2009. RNLI has saved almost 140,000 lives. So basically, if it wasn't here, 140,000 people would probably not be here.
Yeah.
And then
that's
the
true.
knock-on
It's-
effect of that as well would be how many
it's
children
how
do
many-
they have?
That's right. Yeah, and
The
it's
amount of lives that they touch.
well over that now. So that was the figure back in 2009.
Yeah.
So and that's where the new station and the new engagement area, the new visitors part, will give us an opportunity to tell more about the RNLI, not just the Anstruther, but the RNLI as a whole. And we do a lot of international work as well. Work with different groups in different countries and just promoting water safety and mainly helping people to help themselves. We could teach people how to save lives at sea or inland waterways, and then the hope is that they will then train other people. So we're just utilising our experience as a charity to benefit people around the world. So.
Excellent. Thank you. At the front door here, we've got a tap to donate. That's a brilliant idea. So it's just a wireless £3 set example, and you could just basically take your card, and then I'll see if I can get my card, and then I'll show you how it works. Pick a card, any card. This is just we tap in there.
Yeah.
And there you go.
So thank you for your
£3
donation.
donated, just like that.
Excellent. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was this was fitted once the COVID, the pandemic became apparent, and the shops were having to close because we weren't allowed anybody inside. So this is a great way for people still to see in the shop through the window, but it was a great way for us still to gather some donations, and it's vital, and it's really good because it's there all the time. It works all the time. So if the shop's closed, people could still donate a few pound to the RNLI.
But I'll not let me tap 1,000, will it?
No, unless you kept on doing it a few times. But
that's what we're going to give you.
Oh,
so we're going to give you a contribution of 1,000.
That's
From
fantastic.
Fife Properties for today. So thank you for all the help and all the support you do for the community and everything like that. We really appreciate it. Guys, so get behind this project. This is what it's all about at the end of the day. This is self-funded. This is the community, this is volunteers, this is everything that funds it. The government has nothing to do with this at all. And that's the way they want to continue, because they'll keep control of this project and save lives as a result of it. So if you can share, like this post, donate if you can. Everything will go to that cause, and it will help out these people. They put their life on the line every single time they go out there for these people to save their lives, and they save lives. Literally, they are the Thunderbirds of the ocean and the sea. And until next time, guys, I'm Jim Parker for Fife Properties TV.